Libra, Sun, Moon, and Libra rising sign. We have a month ahead, November of 2024, that's going to bring catalytic and intense change to do with your career path and your home life, as well as your work and money situations. It's going to make some shifts here that are kind of like a big crescendo for you of something you've actually wanted to have happen, but haven't had the time, courage, or energy or commitment to make happen, especially regards to career and money and property and real estate matters. We're going to dive Libra into how this month looks for you in the next 30 minutes or so together. But before we begin, let me say a little bit about me, just in case you're brand new. My name is Lori Lothy, and I am using the Western Tropical Zodiac, and I am using whole sign houses, fixed stars, and minor asteroids to help you time your best life. We're using astrology here as a navigational tool. I would love you to also check out the navigational tool I've created for you in 2025 horoscopes for your sign. You can buy the horoscope for your sun and your moon and your rising, because your sun is your career and purpose, and the moon is your home and safety and motions, and the rising is everything about you. So go grab all three, or for better pricing, get the bundle. These are all going to be delivered to you by email, these audio video downloads and housed forever videos and audio files. You get them. They're never sold on YouTube. They're just privately sold, and the pre-sale price is in effect until November the 15th. It's very low, and I send this to you on November 17th by email. And it's because I'm producing it now and you're buying it while I am in creation mode. And so check that out in my description box below. This is my yearly fundraiser, my new laptop for my business, my microphones, time stampers, lighting kits, whatever I need to grow the channel and to grow this offering on YouTube is what I'm using the fundraising money for. Thank you. Let's go ahead, Libra, and talk about this month ahead. First of all, I always start off by talking about the big picture story, and then we'll narrow it down. I'll show you the sky, and I'll give you individual dates for the month ahead. In the big picture schema, the most important thing that's happening for everybody is what Pluto's been up to, but also for you, Venus, because you are a Venus ruled individual. So let's get over the big picture story and the big trends and move into the itty bitty chronological details. You are a Venus ruled individual, and this is an important point that Venus will be doing some very interesting maneuvers in the sky. As we approach November, she's already moving through Sagittarius ever since October the 17th. And she moves through Sagittarius all the way through to the 11th. Yes, Remembrance Day. And so where that Sagittarius sky is for a Libra rising is in your writing house, your communications, your emails, phone calls, your projects online, your learning, skills-based learning, the enhancement of your creative skills. And when she's here, she bonifies that part of your sky, and she flows to you as well in a sextile. So you're having a good run here with Venus and Sagittarius during those first 11 days of November, and of course, that last half of October. And so your creative energies for all those kinds of projects is really up-leveled. And a great deal of success can come from these kinds of third house endeavors. It's also not too bad for more fun time with females and social times with females that you enjoy, more connection to a sibling, particularly younger, maybe some opportunities for some short distance pleasure or leisure travel that brings you a great enjoyment. It's also not bad for teaching something or signing up for a course to learn something, as long as what's being taught or learned is a skills-based learning, something that is easy to apply a skill and use it once you've known it or taught it for your students. And then Venus will move on November the 11th into the sign of Capricorn, which is your natal fourth house, home, property, real estate, and what you do in the dark midnight hour, where you sleep, what you do when you're alone. She certainly enhances the enjoyment of your downtime. You may also decorate your home, get a new bed, get new pillows, get new paint the house, more have a female friend visit you during this transit. This is November the 11th through December the 8th. All said and done, there's beauty, enjoyment, pleasure, and luck in and from the home. And she's joining Pluto there as well. And that makes it even more intense. Pluto will be there until November the 19th or 20th, and she's going to join him in this part of the sky on the 11th. So think about the 11th to the 20th as an extra potent time. It's a bit of a loose wealth yoga. So you might get some kind of wealth coming through your sky connected to property, land, home, and real estate, including the opportunities to buy or sell And that is going to be something, or rent, buy, sell, or rent, that Venus can offer you great blessings in November the 11th, by the way, through to the 20th of November. So keep that in mind, use it or lose it. Pluto will not be here again in this lifetime to cooperate with Venus in a real estate, home, and property manner. So it's your time to capitalize on it. Buy a house, sell a house, list a house, rent a house, etc., as a landlord or a tenant. Now, we're moving away from Venus, and we're going to talk a bit about Mars. Why? Because Mars is doing something very exceptional in the sky. He's going to move into Leo, where he will be for 2 whole months. He will be in Leo all the way from November the 4th through to January the 4th. This longer stay is because of a retrogradation as he turns around at 6 Leo. This indicates a sun, moon, and rising in Libra between 3 and 9 degrees of Libra can most be impacted by the retrogradation. Now, what happens is Mars moves in, and the retrogradation is in December on the 6th. Mars is moving into the house of your career gains itself. That's the money, the reputation, the awards, the rewards you get from being in your work of 10th house matters. And there's changes he wants to bring here. He needs to do something to bring a change. That's his goal. He changes direction. He makes us, choose from one thing or the other, decide. And so as he's moving there, he's thinking about how you can change up things, but he's not fully ready. So he retrogrades back in December to your 10th house to do some more revisions in the actual reputation. I don't know how some of you, if you're a Libra, have been feeling, but all of September, October, Mars has been in your 10th house, and either you're working your ass off, like you're passionate, driven, and ambitious in your career, or you want to quit. It's a place of tension and difficulty and maybe conflict. Either one, it's been intense. So when he goes back after dipping into the house of good spirit in December, you may come up with some really good new ways to handle your career. And some of you may be getting ready to leave, but we'll cover that when we get to January, February, March, and April, because January through April, some of you will quit careers and jobs completely. Now, one thing I'd say about the journey of Mars in the month of November through your 11th house of good spirit is that how are you also wanting to separate the wheat from the chaff in your friendship circles and groups of belonging? Very often Mars ends friendships here, ends groups you belong to, the society of the da-da-da is the club for this. These kind of social clubs, groups of belonging, social networks, and larger social groups of friends are being weaned, cut, and paired by Mars. And so there will be some endings here as you see this transit of Mars all through November and December in the house of those friendships. And you might also make some big changes to your long-range goals and plans for your life, because Mars does that in the same place as well. Reminding you that Jupiter is until next year in the summertime in your, I think it's July the 9th, Jupiter is in your Gemini 9th house, retrograding now since October. Since retrograding since October. I can't remember when he went retrograde, on the 10th or so of October, 9th, 10th, anyway, or 11th. Anyway, he's retrograding in your 9th house, and he'll be there retrograding till February, early February. This is important because it's Jupiter in a very spiritual house of God, and he's already inclined towards spiritual knowledge and wisdom. And as he goes backwards, you're deepening your bounty. But this is the house of publications and book publications, legal and law matters, higher level academic colleges and campuses. And with this retrogradation, you're going back over old ground that you've traveled already, as he's been in this part of your sky, especially the ground he's traversed since July the 15th. And you want to revisit this, and you want to rethink it, and you want to deepen the wisdom and the bounty here. Just keep that in mind. That's a process that you are under during the month of November. And also, Mercury, the messenger of the gods, is going to be putting himself into the sign of Sagittarius in November, on the 2nd of November, and will not leave until January the 8th. I know it's a crazy long time. It's because he will retrograde in your 3rd house. And your 3rd house is those places of the local neighbors, the neighborhood, cousins, aunts, siblings, younger sibling, one younger in particular. It's also the third house of things to do with writing projects. And of course, if you are a writer or a communicator, ideas projects and writing projects, online social media world, Mercury, the mind, the ideas, the communicator here is going to be very active. Now, he's very motivational and not very detailed oriented in Gemini, in Jupiter's sign of Sagittarius. So you'll come up against a desire to splash a watercolor vibe onto a painting, not a realistic one. You won't have a detailed orientation, but you will be very motivational, big picture, communicating stories, getting your ideas, like big ideas out there during that transit. So that that's something you can use this month. He does retrograde on the date of November 26th at 22 degrees of Gemini. So if you're a Libra sun, moon, or rising near 22 Gemini, 3 degrees on either side of those positions, when he goes backwards, you go backwards with him, and you really start to rethink those ideas, those projects, those writing projects, revise, redo, revision them. For example, revise your website, revise your social media life strategies, revise your connection to your neighbors and neighborhoods. So there's a lot of back and forth regarding that. Now, he is a patron of travelers, and you travel a short distance in that third house. And so when he retrogrades, sure, the third week of, November or the 26th, near the end, you might go back and travel a shorter distance to a place you've already been in those 3 weeks that follow the beginning of a retrograde. But otherwise, you could travel quite a bit during his extremely long stay here. You're good at marketing, selling, merchandising. You're good at communicating and writing. You're good at social media stuff. But oh my God, if you're going to travel, you are really going to be a lot of opportunities between November and January. It's also not too shabby, by the way, for anybody who wants to teach something. If you're teaching a skill, you can teach very well with the Mercury in the third house placement. You'll be telling people big, exciting, motivational teachings. You won't be teaching them how to put together a piece of IKEA furniture. That's too detailed. And then we're going to get away from the Venus, the Mars, the Mercury, the Jupiter. I'll just briefly remind you, Saturn's in your work house. You might be getting tired of your job, getting tired of your work, or the boss is heavy-handed, or it feels onerous there. And Saturn's been here since last March. It doesn't leave till February of 26 fully. So with Saturn here, it's kind of like you're still feeling that heavyweight energy around work, around health, regarding obligations around pets, even around rental situations that feel heavy or obligated or dutiful to you. And Saturn is retrograde, but on November 15th, he's been retrograde since June. On November 15th, he will go direct. And some of the inner deepening pause button, rescinding things in work, rethinking things in work, you're going to start to move forward with more wisdom, sagacity, and clarity. Certainly with Mars spending so much time in your 10th house, guys, and Saturn is still in your 6th house. Some of you are changing jobs, careers, or quitting jobs January through to next April, but we'll be covering that in my Deep Dive 2025 videos that you need to purchase from me. Sales pitch. Okay, let's break down the sky. Let me show you the sky first of all, so you can see what I'm seeing. And then we're going to go through your chronological order of the month of November. So this is where you might want to have a pen or paper handy, because I don't see how else you're going to keep track of this stuff. And let me get it out together for us, or just download the video with your YouTube Premium and come back and look at it later. So there's the Libra on this side. That's you. A lot of eclipses, South Node energy. You're letting go of an old identity to form something new. And that's another whole story of those eclipses that are finalizing in early 2025. Let's start off with the big story that November 1st to the 3rd is like explosive energy. I don't know how else to say it, but we'll have a Pluto opposite Mars, and it's 4th house, home and private life versus career and public life. And there's this big explosive energy, and Mars is emotional and out of detriment, out of elements. He's in his fall, so he's detrimented. And so you could have a massive blowout with your boss, a massive explosion in your reputation, a major confrontation with something in the public sphere, and you're hunkered down with Pluto in the 4th house for the last gasp of that journey since 2008. So there's an explosive home versus public, private versus public, career versus private life energetic coming through November 1st to the 3rd. But while that is also happening, we have what's kind of like a kite formation. We have a beautiful blue triangle in the mix of it, in the middle and the mix of it here. And that's going to be what we call a water trine. And it's a Mercury in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, and Neptune in Pisces moment in time. Let's look at that together. You'll notice here that we have Mercury at the 29th energetic and turbulent degree of Scorpio. We're already on November 2nd, and he's flowing to Pluto in the 4th house of home property, real estate, flowing to, in a sextile, but in the trine, flowing to here, Neptune in your work house, and all the illusions have been pulled back, or the house of health matters, especially pertaining to dietary style, and all the illusions have been pulled back. And he's flowing to Mars in that career space where you might want to just up and quit, or the boss may fire you. And so there's this incredible intensity, but the silver lining is in the water trine. So November 1st to the 3rd, if you quit your job or your job quits you, it ends up looking good on you anyway, because the water trine in houses 2, 6, and 10 indicate prosperity and success will follow from these events in career and money and work for you. So don't worry, in the long run, there is a silver lining that's trying to be shown to you. Kites are very much about, what does the trine want you to do? It wants you to flow with ease and grace, regarding work and health and food style and career and reputation matters, not just November 1st to the 3rd, but ostensibly in a longer time frame, because there is a new moon at 9 degrees of Scorpio sitting in the same place where Mercury is operating as a part of this grand water trine. The new moon is on November the 1st, and it opens up a doorway to new earnings and possessions and resources and food and dietary styles. These things are going to be refreshed on the screen of your Libra life over the course of the next 2 weeks after the new moon, on November 1st, but also in the 6 months of new beginnings in second house matters. November the 3rd and the 4th, Venus will oppose Jupiter. Remember, you're deepening your bounty, you're deepening yourself with Jupiter in your 9th house of publications, visas, God, things to do with your foreign travel visas and foreign lands, things to do with legal and court and teaching and learning matters. You're retrograding here. I mentioned this early in the beginning of the video. But now all of a sudden there's Venus picking a fight with that retrograde Jupiter. Now, anytime benefics are tangoing in a negative way, it's still got positive degrees of expression. You might find yourself having an opportunity for travel or for education or for learning that's going to emerge around November 3rd and 4th. And at the same time, because it ends up flowing to Chiron, you're going to help this travel opportunity, learning, teaching opportunity, or publishing, writing opportunity, helps heal a chironic wound in the house of business partnerships, long-term relationships, and things to do with your audience and marketplace. Now, if you're single and you're looking for love, yes, this could bring in a new love through travel opportunities or learning opportunities that heals a chironic wound around love. And that's November 3rd and the 4th. Or in an existing love relationship, a chironic healing is trying to happen. So let's see what happens on November 3rd and 4th. Venus is applying to Chiron and your 7th house from the house of journeys. So for example, a trip with a long-term love relationship person that feels a bit wounded, that kind of journey taking place in early November, the 3rd, 4th specifically, can be healing. With the sun trining Saturn on November 3rd and 4th, the sun is also activated. And the sun is going to be flowing through Scorpio, your 2nd house of resources and earnings, to Saturn, who's sitting in your job house. And so job and career and money stories look lovely for you. November 3rd and 4th could indicate raises, promotions, or even the ideal new job or the ideal job interview. Also, it could indicate a real turning point in a food substance abuse issue or some kind of dietary style or habit that needs correction, and some kind of nice glowy vibe as you figure it all out. Oh yeah, why not? November 3rd and 4th. November the 9th, you have a Venus in a square to Neptune. It is Neptune that has been hanging out since 2011 in your sixth house of work and health matters. And you've had some real delusions and starry-eyed ideas about the perfect job or the perfect health protocol, or about the perfect pet. Pets belong there, the perfect rental property. And, the tide is pulled back. Neptune is retrograde. You're seeing what's really there underneath the frothy waves of the ocean and the mists of it all. And you know what's real and true. And Saturn's helping you be a realistic person too here. And what happens is Venus gets into a difficult, pushy conversation with Neptune. And ideally, Venus and Neptune get along, right? They're creative, they're artistic together, they're soulmate lovey-dovey together. But she's pushing Neptune, and it could be some conflict regarding health and work matters and opportunities for writing, traveling, teaching, or learning. And you're just literally having to make some kind of decisions that accommodate both of those characters, the work situation and the travel situation, for example, or the teaching opportunity and the work obligations. And this is November the 9th. On November the 2nd, Mercury will square Saturn. Mercury and Saturn in a square. It's not always an easy one for facile communications, that's for sure. Saturn is in the workhouse. He's retrograde still, so things from the past, you're still trying to figure out what to do about it all. And then Mercury is like, well, I'm now sitting in Sagittarius. He'll be there, by the way. Mercury will be there with Venus in Sagittarius from November 2nd to the 11th, which is a golden ticket for November 7th to the 11th, signing deals and contracts to do with writing projects, ideal time for launching something online, for teaching a class, for signing up for a class, November 2 to 11th. But we still have a problem here on November 12th. Well, Venus has slid away and no longer bonifies him, and she's in your fourth house, not helping him. Mercury's all on his own in your Sagittarius real estate, squaring Saturn. Well, it definitely looks like a hard stop regarding a travel opportunity, a writing project, a publishing contract, something you have to accomplish with a younger sibling, something you have to accomplish with your neighbors and, neighborhood matters, something you need to get finalized or finished in an online project of some kind. You could have a difficult conversation emerge, communications, phone calls, text messages, and emails regarding employer-employee hiring contracts and work situations. And it's just demanding your attention. Don't forget, Mercury has no details in Sag. So if you need to get anything looked at to do with work contracts, sibling contracts, neighborhood contract, good homeowners association stuff, then you need to get some fine print eyeballs on that, because Mercury will not see the details here. And he may be pushing and shoving and not knowing what he's doing. So be careful there. I wouldn't sign something with an extra pair of eyes here. For example, this is a rental contract position where Saturn is sitting. So look at the details of that rental contract really closely, for example, whether you're the landlord or the leasee, around November the 9th. On November the 12th, on November the 12th, that's what we're talking about. Then on November the 15th to the 19th. It's very busy time. The first thing that happens November the 19th, the 15th to the 19th, is a full moon at 24 Taurus. 15th is a full moon at 24 Taurus, and that makes a big full light of completion or fulfillment in a house of chunky money, your eighth house. Your eighth house can be money that you don't earn, right? You share it with a business partner, inheritance, spousal support, tax rebates, money that you share with the bank, a mortgage, a loan. A full light is revealing what you need to see here to complete and to finalize. Honestly, though, with Pluto in the fourth house, Saturn in the sixth, there could be legacy wealth from an elder family member. Completion and fulfillment of that promise can come to you, not just November 15th, add 2 weeks, but November 15th, add 6 months. There could be, especially with algal, a surprising amount of inheritance money coming from somebody in the family of origin, especially an elder, like grandparent or a very elder parent. The full moon is also happening to be connected to some other events going on, in which the moon itself is engaging with Uranus. Now, that's because the moon is conjunct Uranus. So there's shocking, surprising, algal wealth star energy in that shared resources, chunky money. It could come from your spouse. They're family of origin monies may suddenly emerge as a new offering into your life as well, if you have a significant other. Or, if you do ad revenue on YouTube, or royalty commission monies, get commission money, you may have some big, exciting, gigantic fulfillments or payouts coming your way from the moon on the 15th. And now, the sun will be also involved in a trine to Neptune, and the moon is sextile to Neptune. So in a way, there's such a sweetness to this, because whatever this money thing is, it can really help you eliminate or pay down any debts, including mortgages. It can help you find some kind of sweet spot in the work and money story of your life. Getting, like, if you're going to publish a book, for example, getting, what do you call it, an advance on the book, a chunk of money. Those are the kinds of stories that can happen here. It is very much also a kind of flow to Neptune that can be really good for your health. So maybe you just need some money to take care of yourself, but your health can be receiving some blessings in the long game off of this full moon in the 6 months that follow. More lap swimming, more Tai Chi, more Qigong. That's the way you should be exercising. Watch out for your feet. Now, on November closer to November the 17th, 18th, Mercury will be opposite Jupiter. Now, we always saw Venus have a tussle with Jupiter on November 3rd and 4th. Now, Mercury's doing it, following up what she started, picking on Jupiter. Mercury, the news, information, the contracts, the agreements, the ideas, opposite Jupiter in the house of publications, visas, foreign lands. It could be a stall in getting a visa, a passport glitch, a trip plan that's not gelling the way you want to travel, short or long distance, some kind of squabble with a sibling over legal or court matters, some kind of difficulty regarding writing projects and people in positions of power like editors or agents and stuff like that. There's just around November 18th, 17th, 18th, 19th there. But this was coming. You felt it already November 3rd and 4th. Try to connect those dots. This too shall pass. Not to worry. And all of this is always connecting to the chironic wound in the house of business partners, the house of long-term relationships, etc. So if you do start a new love story, which you could, November 3rd and 4th, you're having your first squabble. Okay, your first disconnect on communication. Again, November 18th, 19th. On November 21st and 22nd, the sun will be flowing to Pluto while Venus is flowing to Saturn. So let's talk about the sun talking to a Pluto 0 degree Aquarius. Remember, Pluto leaves the sign of Capricorn on November 19th, 20th, and now we get to the 21st. Now, Aquarius for you is your 5th house, and you're going to next 20 years be either really creative, really entrepreneurial. You're going to enrich yourself through powerful, transformative love and romantic relationships. Your children can bring you powerful transformation, or you may have powerfully transformative children. So a lot of 5th house stories begin to take off over the next 20 years. And here we have 0 degree Pluto in that 5th house being activated by the sun in the house of writing, communicating, traveling, teaching, and learning. So your window of new energy is opening. How are you going to, over the next 20 years, be engaged in this story? Are you going to write creative, transformative publications and writing projects over the next 2 decades? Are you going to find learning and teaching connected to powerful entrepreneurial endeavors? I will say, if you're a Libra and you haven't been an entrepreneur, Pluto in the next 20 years can give you the entrepreneurial kick-ass power you need. And every time the sun and Venus go through your 3rd house, you're up to new goodness in that area, especially if you work online entrepreneurially. So some entrepreneurial chutzpah hits you maybe on November the 21st, 22nd, or some good writing project news, or some travel opportunities to have great pleasure and transformation and enjoyment of pleasure. November 21, 22. Venus in Capricorn. She's a boss babe. She'll be there. As I already mentioned, she moves into Capricorn on the 11th. Now she's in your Capricorn sky. She's in your 4th house of home, land, property, and real estate. And as she's down there, she's going to talk to the planet Saturn in your house of rentals. Now, this can be really, if you're a landlord, an ideal opportunity to rent a property. If you're a tenant, to secure a new rental property. Pluto in this position can also, Saturn can also be with Venus moving into Capricorn, like decorating a new property that you're owning or renting. We're going to go both ways because of the Uranus position. So property that you own or rent, as a landlord, or leasee, or a tenant, or you just buy or sell property, you own one. This Venus Capricorn is the decoration, the design, the practical things that are needed, like the utility, the cutlery and stuff in the house, in the home, in the nest, flowing to Saturn, which gives you what you all the sort of like, we got this, we can get this done. And when Venus is down there, it's also really good for work from home opportunities emerging. If you haven't tried that before, Venus talking to Saturn says, here's a work from home opportunity. Why don't you take it in Job Career Matters? And that's going to be active again, the 21st and the 22nd of the month. If you wanted a pet and never got a pet, and then Saturn is here, that's an old pet, a rescue pet maybe. And Venus is the love of a pet in the fourth house of home. Some of you could either get a rescue pet or a traditional pet. Saturn, I don't know, whatever, like a Labrador or a golden retriever, things that everyone says, the traditional pets, who knows? But usually Saturn means the elder. So a rescue pet could come into your life around the November 21st to the 22nd. November the 26th to the 27th, Mars is in a flow to the sun. Mars in Leo. Yeah, we know that he's going to be moving into your 11th house of good spirit, and he's having a very profoundly positive conversation. I call a fire trine, a fire in the sky with the sun in your third house. Now, it's really good for harnessing positive support from an elder sibling, one above you, or people who want to be your allies, benefactors, and champion something that you're up to. The champion of this could be they're going to network something that you've created online. A writing project gets a huge amount of support from other people. Creative and writing type projects are where Sagittarius is for you. And we do want to know that when the solar light is there, and will be there from the third week of November to the third week of December, you have a lot of light on your writing, social media, and creative communications projects. And, the connection to the light of the sun in the third with Mars in the 11th can indicate travel with friends, or travel to friends, or travel connected to groups of belonging, and travels that you want to do. By the way, November 21st to 22nd, November 26th and 27th are ideal to book a trip or take a trip. Then things are going to look very good for you and lucky, and open up new opportunities for you. And maybe even new partnerships in love or business can emerge if you decide you wish to travel November 26th, 27th. Finally, we end the month with this. I did talk about the Taurus moon. Yeah. We end this month with a new moon at 9 degrees of Sagittarius on November 30th. New beginnings and fresh starts on teaching, writing, neighbors, and neighborhood. Of course, it can mean you're changing your neighborhood November 30th. Moving to a new neighborhood is very possible. That's simply that. But new beginnings, right? So in the 2 weeks that follow November 30th, are you moving to a new neighborhood? New beginnings. Are you charting new territory for communications, teaching, and writing projects? Are you connecting in new ways to your neighbors, your younger sibling, and aunts, uncles, and cousins? Fresh starts are abounding here for you. Clearly, it's a 9-degree lunation, and it will take up to 6 months to fully show you all of its goodies. But if you are a Libra sun, moon, and rising near 9 degrees, right, with 3 degrees either side, especially, there's a real big new start in that third house. There's a real new beginning for you. And it definitely can look like a change of neighborhood as well. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you like that. I do these deeper dives into the lunations and covering the fixed stars and the minor asteroids involved for all of these 3 moons that are happening in November, which is why you definitely want to like, subscribe, and connect to this channel so that you don't miss a thing. And as I go through the month ahead, that you get the deeper information that I'll be giving you each time. All my videos are all signed, except for election series videos. You can go check those out. They're already in my playlist. I did predict a Democratic win, but I used astrology tools, not because I'm a Democrat. I don't care. I'm a Canadian. And also, by the way, I do not like either party at this juncture. They're just corporatocracy, plutocracy extensions. That's it. I'm done. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Check out Patreon community. Gets this early access ad free. Like today, October 18th, they get this without ads. You're going to have to wait, and you have to watch ads. You might also check me out on my Patreon community as well, because I do a lot of stuff there. I teach classes. I have chats with people in a chat section for Patreon where we talk about the topics of the sky, and I'm involved with you guys there. So you'll have more connection with me on Patreon than you ever get here. So check me out over there as well. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful November.